9 at 10, the boiler room. The boiler room from FNAF VR is the location of the entered vent repair minigame. If you saw the video where I did the mangle vent repair, you may know that I didn't continue to the entered vent repair. Because screw that, but also because the boiler room and the whole entered vent repair is terrifying. The whole situation that you're in is just the worst. Entered is one of the scariest and most intimidating animatronics. It's the worst, I can't. If you get caught in the boiler room alone, you might as well just accept death. Plus, we burn Ennard at the end, but it wasn't Ennard because he jump scares you after. So, who did we burn? What happened? Was it just a person? Was it an animatronic? Who let out that ungodly scream? I don't know, and it scares me. In a 9 plush babies room. I've avoided all the plush baby minigames in FNAF VR because, well, I hate them. The plush babies are like the little kids your mom tells you to play with at family reunions that just end up using you like a jungle gym. Or that kid that runs out of the house when you want to talk to your friend and their parents do nothing because they're just a bunch of human garbage. So you have to chase him all the way down the street and carry him back home while he is biting you and punching and kicking you. And instead of getting a thank you for saving my son's life for the 4th time, you get a Jordan sleeping and a door closed on your face. That was probably a little specific to sound like a generalization, huh? Yeah, that's a story for another day, but basically that's the story. Either way, I hate the plush babies and actively refuse to play them until I ultimately will have to. The room is terrifying, and when it's full of plushies in blacklight mode, it makes it even worse because all plush babies look the same aside from a colored shirt. Just don't play it. Don't. And at 8, the corn maze. The corn maze is probably the worst FNAF VR minigame to some, but honestly the only scare factor in it now, for me, are the crows. The corn maze is a minigame that in essence acts like an ending to the Help Wanted DLC The Curse of Dreadbear, where you wander around a maze in search of colored keys. You can get 1 key and escape, or you can get all 4 keys, which unlocks a secret brown and purple glitching key. This unlocks a cellar at the beginning of the maze that contains everything that would normally be in the victory barn, except run down and broken up. Note, this isn't the victory barn because, well, it's a cellar. And there isn't enough space. On a table nearby, you can find a mask that will slow your character's breathing and seem to put them at peace. However, the actual maze has you running away from Grim Foxy, one of the 2 new animatronics added by the DLC, and honestly, one of the scariest animatronics in the whole series. This guy has like magma dripping out of his body, or at least it looks like it to me.
Number 7, your own home. While it might not be featured in the games themselves, your home can feel pretty scary as the location that is most likely featured for you in the augmented reality mobile FNAF game Special Delivery. In this game, you take on animatronics who come right into your home to entertain you, bringing Freddy's experience right to your door, or wherever else it is that you dare to play Special Delivery. I would recommend personally playing it in a somewhat dim lit hallway if your phone's camera is good enough. The idea that something could pop up behind me further down the hallway always gets me when I'm playing, making me freak out when an animatronic is sent my way. Also, it's really fun to just spin around in hallways. That's fun. And scary. Especially if you get an animatronic coming your way from the main cast. In fact, I think this might be one of the rare instances when Freddy appears to be the scariest of them all. I normally don't say that. I don't think Freddy's that scary, but in Special Delivery, it's pretty scary. Number 6, Parts and Service Room. FNAF 2. Another spooky area we are forced to monitor on a regular basis is the Parts and Service Room in FNAF 2. This area is often terrifying in appearance because of how dilapidated it is and how broken down and tattered the animatronics here also appear. The animatronics who have fallen into disrepair often appear here, hence the name Parts and Service. They are really only good for scraps, and you can tell that this makes them more resentful and aggressive than other animatronics. Also, Mangle! Okay, so when you see Mangle here for the first time, it's just terrifying because it looks like it's just an animatronic head and a mess of wire until you get a terrifying closer look when it comes for you in the office in this game. Ugh, Mangle, get out of here. Number 5, the back alley. FNAF 6. While we never actually get to properly explore the back alley that appears in Pizzeria Simulator, it is the source of all the damaged and disturbing looking animatronics that we can salvage, and any glimpses we do get of it are terrifying. It's definitely not a place you'd want to wander into alone at night. Unless of course you really need to salvage some animatronics for a quick buck, I suppose. We also get another peek at what appears to be the back alley in the FNAF book, The Freddy Files, where we see Scrap Baby's silhouette standing in what seems to be the dim light night of that alley. And yikes, that picture itself feels like something out of a nightmare. Number 4. Pirate Cove. Pirate Cove, of course, is just terrifying because of everyone's favorite and frightening animatronic, Foxy. If it's your first time playing FNAF 1 as well, and you haven't watched any videos of it being played, it's likely going to be an even more terrifying location for you if you don't give Foxy the respect he deserves and actually monitor the location properly. When Foxy starts to peek out from behind that curtain, you're likely going to be frightened, and when he comes sprinting out at you that first time, if you're caught unawares, you're going to be more than frightened, you'll be terrified.
And at number 3, Fall Fest 83. The DLC also takes place during a fall festival creatively named Fall Fest 83, presumably because it's 1983. The festival could also relate back to the Spook Fest referenced in the posters from FNAF 6's Alley, since those same posters can appear in the victory bar, frustrating the hell out of you because it means that there aren't 3 clowns. However, the fact that this whole DLC surrounds this festival really shows why this is number 3. The only reason we need to find the plush babies in the Plushkin Patch is because of the festival. The only reason the hallway exists or the corn maze exists is because of the festival. And the fact that the only reason I have to get tortured again is because of the damn festival makes it one of the scariest locations or events in the entire goddamn series. You notice I haven't played FNAF VR in a while? But ultimately, in at number 2, the Pizza Party. The final minigame of FNAF VR is Pizza Party. It unlocks after completing all other minigames in both hard mode and normal mode. However, it's at the end of the game that truly makes it the most horrifying moment in not just the game, but the entire series. While some minigames will give you jump scares, Pizza Party will give you the most intense real horror experience. Because once you make it backstage with Uncle Fluffy, he tells you to come with him onto stage. You stand in the back room surrounded by broken animatronics representing the other victims, Tape Girl and Jeremy, and Pizza and Cake, but somehow you still follow, and what joins you is getting stuffed into Freddy as indicated by the microphone in our hand, and the announcer introducing us as if we had hit the Showtime button. It's one of the darkest moments because it's real. It happened to us. We've been hearing about kids getting stuffed this whole time, but now we've experienced it. It's happened right in front of our faces. To us. So I guess using our faces. So now we know how it feels, and that's pretty messed up, actually. Jeez. Finally, and at number 1, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Everyone has been making jokes about Scott opening a real-life Freddy Fazbear since Chuck E. Cheese is closing. Also, rip my childhood, okay, the end of an era. But until a few days ago, this was all just jokes, for the most part. Until MatPat released his latest theory on FNAF and started it off with a proposition for Scott Cawthon. He said that with their expertise, they could reasonably turn a Chuck E. Cheese restaurant into a Freddy Fazbear themed joint and could even make a YouTube Red series about it to help them paying for such an endeavor. While that does sound amazing, I don't think they'll actually do it, but imagine if they did. Imagine if MatPat and Scott joined forces and created a real-life Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I think it would be safe to say that we would all be scared of going. But also, that it would be awesome. I could help too, if they needed any help, you know, if help was wanted. Notice me, senpai. Ooh. Oh, what am I doing? I just want MatPat to know who I am.
Number 10, behind the scenes. I definitely would want to peek behind the curtain at Freddy Fazbear's, so to speak. How cool would it be to wander around the staff areas or roam the backstage, visit the storage room that holds all the animatronic suits, basically feel like you were an employee or a privileged VIP at the restaurant. Sure, you might have to worry about free-roaming animatronics, maybe trying to kill you, but that's all part of the fun of the experience of actually visiting this place, right? Number 9, Spooky Mansion. I love the Curse of Dreadbear DLC, and so evidently I'm also a big fan of some of the locations that we visit there. Namely, I like everything that is based in and around the Spooky Mansion game mode. I personally would love to go to a mansion around Halloween that was completely FNAF themed and explore, interact with animatronics, and ideally eat a ton of candy. Candy is the best. When I used to go trick-or-treating, I would always sort my candy after, and my favorite candy, the one I would always eat first, would be the Reese Cups and the little mini Caramilks. We're not sponsored by either of those, but so good. I actually think that's the Caramilk slogan. I don't know, do chocolate bars have slogans? It's like something. Oh, maybe it's just caramel? Oh no, that's a different treat. Fun fact, some folks have already attempted around Halloween to bring the world of FNAF to life themselves by building haunted houses inspired by the franchise. So here's hoping we can all Halloween again this year, and that you have one of these kinds of themed houses in your neighborhood. That would be so cool. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list, be sure to show it by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8, Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental. This place is just so steeped in lore, I think we'd all need to go there. Sister Location is also my favorite FNAF game, so you know I would want to crawl through those vents and feel that terror building up in my throat, that scream that I know I can't let out, because if I do, some free-roaming animatronic in the dark will find me. Ennard or Ballora, probably. I don't really know why I'd want to go to Sister Location. It is so terrifying, but I think a big part of it is that terror. Like we were talking about sort of at the beginning of this list, we seek out horror because we enjoy the feeling that it gives us. And Sister Location is very much that for me. In terms of visiting that space in real life, I wouldn't want to actually be hurt, just to feel that rush of danger where it feels like something could go terribly wrong, but I know I'm safe because it's all just pretend. I mean, this would just be pretend, right? If we're talking about these places.
In its 7 Breaker Room. The Breaker Room from the 5 Nights at Freddy's 5th game, Sister Location, is located on the other side of Ballora's gallery within Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental. Which means that when you get there, you need to get through the dangerous task of defending yourself against Ballora, which is already difficult in and of itself. But once you get there, you need to power up the building while also fending off Funtime Freddy. A whole load of stuff will already have happened tonight, and it's only night 2. You will have failed to shock Baby, and you will also have warded off the Biddy Baps. That's when Hand Unit will direct you to manually restarting the system. Then you need to crawl through Ballora's gallery while not getting caught by her, and then you finally get there to your salvation, only to find out that you need to fight off Funtime Freddy as well. At least once you do it, you'll never need to go back, but Jesus Christ, really? On night 2? Halfway through at number 5, Pirate's Cove Ride. While this ride is definitely the most relaxed out of the FNAF VR minigames, however, if you accidentally hit one of the helpy signs and then don't notice or can't change it back before you continue on, you end up going through a secret section that, while it gives you more points, you have the possibility of getting killed, like any good Walt Disney ride. Like having to hit a button regularly until Bonnie goes away, or having the animatronics put right next to you and making you need to close the door quickly before they can get to you. It's terrible and horrifying and just not fun, okay? All I want to do is shoot my balls at targets because I can't go to any theme parks to play their shooting games. So can I just do this without the potential of dying, please? Oh, and if you don't get enough points, you get killed. Rude. And at 4, game over. The menu screen of the original FNAF VR game is actually terrifying, but when it comes to the game over menu, it's not that bad, unless you play the Curse of Dreadbear DLC. The DLC game over menu is one of the most terrifying locations in any of the FNAF games. You load in and immediately see a giant Dreadbear lurking over you, who will reach out towards you as if he's about to take you to the afterlife. You also see 8 gravestones on a hill, one for each of the original missing children, Cassidy, Fritz, Jeremy, Susie, and Gabriel, one for the puppet, aka Charlotte, and one for the crying child, Afton's unintended 7th victim, or first depending on how you look at things. And the purple glitching one in the middle for old Willie Afton himself. Oh, and if you look behind you, Grim Foxy is watching over you, staring at you, and will occasionally just move his claw down the post, carving away at it ever so slightly, showing you how sharp his hook really is. Getting close to the end.
Number 2, FAZBEAR Frights. I personally think one of the places that makes the most sense to want to go is FAZBEAR Frights. FAZBEAR Frights is the horror attraction version of the pizzeria. We visited, of course, in FNAF 3. With its spooky interior and its haunted restaurant vibes, it just makes the most sense that this would be the real version. It just makes the most sense that this would be like the real version 1 that we might get. Complete with, as is described in the FAZBEAR Frights books, a gift shop as well. I like the idea of an interactive museum that's all about celebrating the horrific franchise that we've all come to know and love. Number 1, Help Wanted VR. How can we visit a game though, Amanda? How can we visit the game when we play? Help Wanted is just supposed to be a game. Even in canon, it's described as being a virtual experience. But if you could walk through this virtual experience, Would you? Well, that is a thing that could actually happen. Around the world, there are a few virtual experiences that actually allow you to roam in a room and, in effect, interact with the virtual components you see in your headset, effectively transporting you to that place virtually through your senses. These experiences are interactive in a brand new way. For example, if you see a sink in the room you are in your headset, you can actually walk over to that sink in the real world, turn it on, and feel the water running on your hand as you watch it spill from the tap in VR. This takes VR to a whole new level where you don't just see an experience, but you can also feel, touch, and potentially even smell what's going on virtually around you. There's also tons of surround sound going on, so you might actually hear something behind you and then turn around and see it, if you know what I mean. It's pretty neat. Now imagine, if you will, doing this with the Help Wanted experience. I personally have done a horror walkthrough, a fully immersive VR horror experience before, and wow, it was terrifying. So I can pretty accurately imagine how scary Help Wanted in this experience would be.
In 9 back rooms. The FNAF VR DLC's Pirate Ride is one of the most chill minigames in the world, at least the first time. After that, the minigames get freaky once you start hitting the helpy cutouts in certain levels. These, when facing left, take you backstage behind the main ride into areas that can actually jump scare you. These have 100-point targets though, making them necessary in order to get the highest score possible, which ironically is actually 0. These areas include, but are not limited to, sections where you get trapped right next to Jacko, Chica, and Bonnie, having to close the door on them before they get to you, and a good minute of defending yourself against 2 animatronics as they walk on treadmills coming your way, hitting a target that will repel them backwards until the cart guides you to safety. These sections can be freaky as hell, and one wrong move and you're animatronic food. But it's good if you want to relax. Just do your best not to hit Helpy. And if you do, hit him again so he faces right before you move to the next section. Hot tips. And at 8, repair vents. FNAF VR not only puts you through the weirdest Disney ride ever, but they also make you repair the vents at FAZBEAR locations, one of which has been shut down because of Mangle being stuck inside them, and the other because Ennard wanted to say hello. The Mangle vent repair starts off with Mangle in your face, but at least she's scared of light, making you complete simple puzzles while checking the vents around you, and then you're fine. But the Ennard vent repair kicks things up 5 notches, where you need to complete more complex puzzles within a certain time frame, otherwise you get spooked. This includes following wires to hit buttons in the correct order, and a series of gear puzzles meant to take forever, and rotating pipes to ultimately burn Ennard alive, until it jump scares you by nearly getting into your vent. The vent repairs are not for the faint of heart, since the animatronics are right in your face, and your only defense is looking at them. The Ennard repair also features Springtrap crawling at you slowly, and the nightmare mode for these is just even worse. Don't do it.
Number 7, The Office.
No! God, please, no! No!
One of the places I think we'd all like to see, sit at, and take pictures in would be the office. When I was a kid, I visited Minnie Mouse's house at Disney World, which I actually don't think is there anymore. This experience, though, was amazing. It meant I got to explore, roam around, and feel like I was Minnie Mouse for the day. I imagine visiting a version of the office that had, working tech, doors, and tons of drawings and little details worked in would also be equally magical, except in a scary way. I guess what I'm saying is we need a FNAF world. Number 6, Circus Baby's Pizza World. I really just want to go here because I want to explore this location and see what mysteries I could potentially uncover. Circus Baby's Pizza World is still a location where I don't fully know what to expect. All I can guess is that it would be similar but different than Freddy's. Who are all the animatronics? Is the atmosphere and the themes the same? Are there more clowns and circus elements? Because that's what I picture. I imagine free, unlimited buttered popcorn at every table, a ceiling covered in cloth made to look like the top of a big circus tent, lots of warm lighting, maybe even a show where acrobats perform. Perhaps even the serving staff have circus-based talents? I really imagine it to be a magically themed restaurant, which is why I think it would be a cool place to visit. Just maybe don't let Circus Baby serve you any ice cream. Number 5, your own pizzeria. Who doesn't want to go and enjoy the fun and horror of the pizzeria they themselves created in Pizzeria Simulator? I know I do. Imagine getting to enjoy your own games, attractions, and animatronics that you picked to be in your pizzeria. The question is, would you want to visit this location as an employee, the owner and manager, or as a guest? I personally would want to be in the role of manager to see how others were enjoying their time at my pizzeria, as long as I didn't have to deal with any lawsuits.
And at 3, Plush Traps Hall. FNAF 4 was the introduction of the nightmare animatronics, making it the scariest game for some. However, the real horror comes from Plush Trap's hallway. In this minigame, Plush Trap sits on a stool at the opposite of the hallway. Your goal is to let him get closer and eventually flash your light at him while he's on the red X. This is such a bad idea. You're trapped in this tiny hallway with an animatronic killer that you have to willingly let get closer to you. Why? Why can't you keep your light on it until you can rip it apart and bury the pieces in different zip codes? Turn the goddamn light on, for fuck's sake. Why put your life at risk? I know it's just a game, it could just be a nightmare, but if it's not a nightmare, why are you being so dumb? I don't care if you're a kid. When I was a kid, if I'm scared or in danger, I turn the light on, even if it won't help. But if light is the one thing keeping this thing from attacking you, why are you willingly playing with fire? That's stupid, and that makes this minigame scary, but you know what? You also deserve it. Finally, in at number 1, Nightmare Hallway. The final spot has got to go to the hallway from Curse of Dread there. It could have been the real Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that was shown through coordinates thanks to Scott's website having a load of 8 and 7s in its source code, but Amanda used that in part 1, so it feels wrong to use it again. The hallway is the first of the Spooky Mansion levels in the Help Wanted DLC, and it's easy to see why it's the worst. A long hallway with multiple invisible doors on the walls that you can't see until they're open, and if you're next to one when they do open, you get jump scared. Foxy will face opposite you at random times, and if you move while you can see him, you'll get jump scared. That's not that bad, but you don't know when you're going to see Foxy. Then once you're halfway down the hallway, a door from where you started opens, releasing Nightmare Freddy along with the FREDDY'S, who will walk up to you from behind at a constant rate, meaning that if you stand still for too long, thanks to Foxy, the doors, or a combination of the two, you'll get jump scared. And when he's close to you, you see his shadow when the lightning flashes, making things even worse. This is probably the hardest minigame in the DLC, and that's one of the reasons I didn't play it. I hate VR horror, but that just feels like too much for me. And at 10, it's real, okay? A lot of people couldn't tell if I was being serious or not in the shorts, okay? And I guarantee you that this is actually real. This isn't something I'm making up, it's not a hoax, it's actually a thing. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is real, or well, is going to be. Kind of. Because of the company that made Mr. Beast Burger possible, called Virtual Dining Concepts, they did announce that they partnered with Scott Cawthon to take the first ever fictional video game setting and turn it into a real-life delivery restaurant, okay? Emphasis on the delivery part on that, however, because I cannot stress this enough, there is no actual location that you can walk into. I'm going to be saying this a lot in this video, okay? Because seemingly no matter how many times I say it, nobody gets it. There is no actual location, okay? I leave a pinned comment on the short and nobody reads it. People even replying to that comment that said there was no physical location asking where it was going to be built. Guys, it's really happening, okay? You'll be able to order it, but you can only order it online through food delivery apps, just like how they handle Mr. Beast Burger, okay? I just hope that this stuff is actually seasoned, okay? I may be white, but I do have taste buds. And at 9, Scott Cawthon. Apparently a lot of people think that after Scott retired, Steel Wool ended up getting the copyright to FNAF, but this couldn't be further from the truth. As you can see on the announcement, as well as any image of the logo for this delivery service, it does maintain that FNAF and all of its components are still under the copyright of Scott Cawthon. Virtual Dining Concepts website even says that it partnered with Scott and not anybody else in order to make this delivery service come to life. So yeah, I mean there's not much else to say about this, okay, but Scott is the only person on the FNAF side, at least as far as we know currently, that is involved in the process. Mr. Beast isn't involved, Steel Wool seemingly isn't involved since they haven't mentioned it at all since they only make money off Security Breach and Help Wanted. So yeah, okay, Scott is still the copyright owner and owner of the series, and I'm pretty sure that even for the next part of the series it will remain that way. He may not be involved that much, but whoever the series is handed off to won't have the copyright or the ownership. It will just be stuff that is pre-approved by Scott. In at 8, Twitter. There isn't really a lot of new information since we last updated you in the previous short on the subject, the second one, not the first one. However, the restaurant still have an official Twitter account known as @FFazbear's Pizza, and based on their account details, they've actually been planning this since January of last year at least, considering that that's when the account joined. You can also sign up for email and text reminders on their website, FreddyFazbearsPizza.com, and they've been responding to quite a few people on Twitter, but not me, unfortunately. It's kind of annoying, really. But they also haven't sent out any text reminders since the last video as well. Like, I signed up for text reminders, haven't gotten one, which really makes me believe that this was only meant to kind of course correct since the announcement came early thanks to the tweet that had the leak that blew up. okay? Virtual Dining Concepts really needed to make sure that their website didn't have the information about upcoming projects available for just anyone to see, especially when the fanbase surrounding the delivery service is as intense as this one. This may have sprung up thanks to people searching for ARG clues in the wake of Matt Pat's last FNAF theory video about the FAZBEAR FRIGHTS books before he released his Please Stop video, which in my mind is the most likely scenario of how this was found, but since the account hasn't tweeted in a week now, I'm pretty sure it was just made public so that they might as well like lean into the fact that we already knew about it, so yeah. And at 7, Funtime Auditorium. Funtime Auditorium is featured in Sister Location as well as FNAF VR. In Sister Location, you have to navigate through the room while using a flash to temporarily see where you're going while Funtime Foxy chases you. In FNAF VR, it's the same, only in VR. Sure, you can play it in flat mode, but it's not nearly as terrifying. Having Funtime Foxy after you is bad, yes, it's scary and you'll probably scream. However, in FNAF VR's nightmare version of this dark room, you have to deal with every animatronic. Bump into any of them, and you're screwed. Well, not really every animatronic, but a load of them scattered throughout the room. So not only do you need to avoid Funtime Foxy, but you need to navigate around the others as well. I hate the dark, it leaves me alone with my thoughts, but a dark room while something is chasing me and I only have a temporary light source before that room is dark again, no thank you! Especially if I bump into someone and they kill me. It's like walking in New York, only you can't see anything. That's how I imagine New York. And at 6, Ruined Freddy's. The FNAF VR DLC The Curse of Dreadbear adds 3 new sections of minigames. Danger Keep Out is the last one, and probably one of the most terrifying. You're back in the FNAF 1 security office, however this time the pizzeria is abandoned and boarded up. You don't have proper electricity and you can't close the doors, only camera flashes to keep you safe. Flash any of the animatronics and they vanish, giving you more time, until you need to reset the power. You get 5 flashes before having to reset, and while it resets you're left in darkness. Not to mention Foxy works the same way as he did, and on the final night when Dreadbear comes for you, he doesn't get reset. Flashing merely stops him from advancing for a time. Forget about him and you're done, no matter how much flashing you can do. And I mean like flashing light, not flashing anything else. So please be clothed if you're playing this game, just because you're probably gonna piss yourself. Halfway through number 5, Pizza Party. The final minigame of Help Wanted is Pizza Party, where you have to navigate your way through the various rooms of the pizzerias to get to your party. The whole time you're avoiding animatronics that will sometimes jump scare you, sometimes not. But the real horror comes from when you get to your party. It wasn't thrown by your friends, it wasn't thrown by your family, it was thrown by Glitch Trap. Yeah. After seeing the ruined bodies of Chica and Bonnie, Glitch Trap appears from behind a curtain. Your final moment is spent walking through that curtain as the screen goes black. Next thing you know, you're on stage with a microphone in your hand. You've been stuffed, put in the Freddy suit by none other than William Afton himself. But how? He wasn't meant to be in the game. He was some code that got scanned in by accident, right? Well, it's too late now. That's one of the scariest moments of any of the games. You experiencing what every other child has once William has shown them where their other pizzas are kept? Jesus, even now it gives me chills. Especially with that dancing at the end. What the hell was that? That's like me but worse. And at 3, Therapy. Some of these comments make me really think that there should be a group fund for FNAF fan therapy sessions because, dear lord, I make a lot of jokes, okay? But like I hope that these comments are jokes or supposed to be funny because, fingers as toppings? You want to watch the bite of 83 or 87? What the actual The comments on our first short about this delivery service, ignore me pronouncing first wrong, are very concerning if anything is supposed to be real. Okay, this is a part of why Scott kept saying that he wasn't going to make a real FNAF. And I think that this is like the best way that he could compromise to make it happen for the people who were good and wanted it, instead of, you know, the people like this. Like, why would he want to make an actual location if people keep commenting stuff like this? Seriously, I feel genuine concern for you if you're being serious about wanting to possess an animatronic. Yeah, be a fan of the series and love the series as much as you want. Don't sacrifice your life to try to make the series real. Okay, that's not a good thing. Look at all the bad things that happened in the series. Plus, possession isn't real, especially in the same way that FNAF's possession works, okay? That's entirely fictional. And besides, there is no actual FNAF restaurant or location for you to go to anyway, so please stop commenting it, at least on our videos, so I don't have to see it. Ignorance is truly bliss. And ultimately, and at number 2, no Mr. Beast. I've seen a load of comments about people saying, why would Mr. Beast do this, or making jokes like Mr. Beast is gonna do a whoever kills 5 kids first gets $1 million video, but Mr. Beast has no affiliation with Virtual Virtual Dining Concepts, which is the company making this delivery service possible, okay? Mr. Beast doesn't own it, he doesn't have any stake in it from what I know, he has nothing to do with Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Delivery. I don't want there to be any issues that come up because people think that he is affiliated with this, okay? Jimmy has nothing to do with Freddy's. He only has affiliation with Mr. Beast Burger, which was also made possible by Virtual Dining Concepts. Me introducing it like that was just that you know that it was real. The company that made Mr. Beast Burger possible also is making FNAF possible. The two aren't related, except just because the company made both happen. I don't know if that makes you disappointed or happy about it, but there is no connection to Mr. Beast whatsoever unless they end up sponsoring him for a video so that they can like get the word out even more, or so that he can make like a version of the restaurant for a video and invite FNAF tubers or FNAF fans over for a chance to win it in a similar fashion to how he invited people over to win a chocolate factory. But even if that video does happen, it will only be a sponsorship deal and not an actual partnership, okay? It's like just like when YouTubers get sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, okay? It's just a sponsor. We don't have any stake in Raid, okay? It would only be a sponsorship deal, okay? And the location that he would make wouldn't actually be a restaurant. It would only be used for that video and then it would be dismantled. Possibly even in the same place that he built the chocolate factory, assuming that he's renting like that unit or owns it. And finally, in at number 1, delivery service. I cannot emphasize this enough, okay? I saw a lot of people commenting saying that there's a real location finally, or asking where it is, or why would they do that? It's not that kind of restaurant. It's not a restaurant, it's a delivery service. Just like how you can't actually walk into a Mr. Beast Burger, there will be no physical location for you to visit. The whole point of Virtual Dining Concepts is that existing kitchens have the ability to make these, and they can opt in, turning them into outlets for these recipes. Like when you order Mr. Beast Burger, there is no actual Mr. Beast Burger restaurant. It's something that like a Wendy's or something is like making the food either in their kitchen or in a food truck on their property, but you can't actually like go up to that food truck and order. It will be the same concept for this place, okay, but with places that already serve these kinds of food. As it says on the Virtual Dining Concepts website, quote, "Don't change who you are. We have brands that fit your current kitchen, suppliers, and way of working." So, there is, and most likely will not be, a real Freddy Fazbear's unless Scott intends to make it like a 2-week special location in the future for potential lore or whatever, okay? But there is none at the moment, and there won't be when this launches. You just order this on food delivery apps, okay? No.
Number 10, dining area. While the whole Freddy's location itself in FNAF 1 is pretty terrifying, it's the atmosphere created by the smaller rooms that help to give the entire restaurant a really eerie and creepy feel. One such location is the dining area. The fully dressed party tables in the completely desolate location are already enough to make a chill creep down your spine. There is something about the currently abandoned dark restaurant which you would normally affiliate with the bright smiles and laughter of children that cuts to the bone. It feels ominous, and while you watch from the safety of your security camera, like you definitely shouldn't be at this place after hours. Even though you should, because it's your job. This room gives you that feeling that someone is creeping up behind you when you gaze at it, reminding you that although you appear alone, you're most certainly not alone in this place. Number 9, the closet. FNAF 4. In FNAF 4, you had to run around and monitor different locations in your bedroom to avoid getting scared and gobbled up by the nightmare FREDDY'S. One of the locations within your room that you have kept an eye on is the closet. Why is this so terrifying? Well, I feel like many children have that natural fear of what could be lurking inside their closet. And I'm an adult now, and yet I still sometimes get that fear. Especially as your closet in the game, like mine currently in my room, is on the opposite wall from your bed, close to the foot of your bed. Not even talking about the fact that there actually could be monsters in this closet. In fact, there likely is. There is just something about a closet being near where my feet are when I sleep that is unsettling. Because you know those monsters are going to drag you by your feet into that closet and probably murder you, right? If they emerge while you slumber. That's just how it goes with closet monsters. Number 8. Backstage. With all the heads on shelves, who wouldn't be terrified by the backstage location in FNAF 1? Your first playthrough, knowing this is a horror game about animatronics who come to life, will likely make you view this whole setup in complete horror. This is, after all, where the animatronics start out in FNAF 1 before starting to roam around and trying to get into the office so they can kill you. They also have a tendency to get up real close to the camera sometimes in this location, which, as you maybe quickly flip through all the security cams, can catch you off guard and give you a bit of a scare.
And at 7, menu. We don't currently have a proper menu for the FAZBEAR service yet, but currently what we know is that according to Virtual Dining Concepts website, quote, the easy to execute menu features craveable pizza rolls with a unique twist and game tie-ins that new and current fans will want to order over and over again. Now, whether the unique twist is death or a special topping is one thing, however I'm pretty sure that we can all guess they'll also be serving pizza with a variety of customizable topping, especially according to their Twitter, since they did ask what our favorite pizza topping was in a tweet. I'm disappointed that there weren't more favorite pizza place jokes in there in those replies. However, based on the comments on our first short on the subject, there are going to be some scarier replies to that tweet as well, because it's Twitter. Luckily, I don't think they'll be adding fingers to the meat add-ons. We can also guess that they'll be serving similar stuff to like a normal Chuck E. Cheese or a pizza place, so soda, chicken as well, because Chica I'm guessing, mini brownies, and probably a small variety of desserts. They may even have cake, because it's supposed to be a place you can go for your birthday, which I think would make the most sense, but only if the kitchen that ends up taking on this additional menu would also normally make cake. And at 6, no relation. XBlue is a YouTube group that has been working on making multiple FNAF locations real. They've done FNAF 4 and recently seemingly completed a recreation of FNAF 1, despite their channel description saying in progress, but their video saying that it's done. So maybe they're adding the finishing touches right now. The YouTube channel, to my knowledge, has no affiliation with Virtual Dining Concepts or Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Delivery. However, their videos are incredibly cool and interesting, so if you want to see their rendition of a real FNAF, go check them out on YouTube, okay? I'm sure that if you're this deep into the FNAF algorithm, you've already seen it, but I might as well point you in their direction anyway, okay? Go subscribe to them. They're pretty cool. However, they do not have any relation to Virtual Dining Concepts or this delivery service as far as I know, okay? There also is no real location for this delivery service to operate from, again, so their videos have nothing to do with this announcement. Honestly, the announcement seems like it was rushed, again, because we ended up finding out thanks to the website having the information, then everyone started tweeting about it. But we were like, actually, we were 2 days late to the party on that short, by the way. That was a whole other thing that was 2 days before, and I was like, oh, we should probably release a short. And besides, if they were affiliated, wouldn't they have made the FNAF 1 location first instead of second after FNAF 4? Or wouldn't they just have not posted it on YouTube because, you know, NDAs, legal stuff, Scott loving the element of surprise? Yeah, I'd think so too. And at 4, no animatronics. Guys, I cannot stress this enough, there is no actual location, meaning that there won't be any animatronics that you can meet, unless your Uber Eats driver wants to go the extra mile and for some reason has a spare FNAF costume laying in his trunk or in his backpack. I don't really think it's gonna happen, and you know what, if they do have a spare one, that's gonna be questionable. Obviously things can change, like they may have a uniform or something to give to the drivers, but I can pretty much guarantee that that's not going to happen. Yeah, especially not like that, okay? If Mr. Beast even doesn't do that with Mr. Beast Burger and it's Mr. Beast, I don't think that they're gonna be doing it for anyone else, okay? Sorry guys, but you won't be meeting any actual animatronics unless some seriously hardcore drivers go all out, or there's some secret ARG element that Scott plans on including that we have no idea about, okay? But also, that's not me saying that there is an ARG. I don't fully believe that there is, but the appearance of a Freddy Fazbear's delivery service after the community had been told that no non-official business would participate is very sus in my opinion, okay? Scott is a sussy baka, all aboard the sus bus. Plus, it said that the pizza rolls are gonna have game tie-ins. So, unless that's like a name, that's additionally sus. Dude, it's like I'm seeing this delivery service vent all over Skeld.
Number 3, opening title. I'm not sure if we consider this a location, but it's so frightening that we probably should. In FNAF 7, the VR game Help Wanted, the opening title is just eerie. Now, nothing can happen to you here, you can't get jump scared, but because it's VR and you can turn around feeling like you're actually in a Freddy's location yourself, while giant animatronics loom over the title looking down at you, it's pretty unsettling. The fact that the animatronics' eyes and heads seem to follow your movements, and how real-like in 3D everything looks, makes this one of the most terrifying opening title settings yet for the FNAF franchise. Potentially one of the most opening titles of all time. Number 2, the Scooping Room, FNAF 5. I said scooping really weird there. Scooping Room. It's an exciting word to say. One of the most terrifying places in the game is the Scooping Room, which is one of the areas in Circus Baby's entertainment and rental featured in FNAF 5's sister location. The Scooping Room isn't just terrifying because it's where you are killed and get scooped, though of course there is also that. It's also just frightening enough when you wake up there the first time, hearing other animatronics be scooped and finding out that Circus Baby has basically kidnapped you and hidden you in an animatronic spring lock suit. You are then forced to fend off Bellora's mini-renas while keeping an eye on the spring locks, so you don't die from the suit's springs and gears getting loose and skewering you. Number 1. The real Freddy's. In 2015, fans found a mysterious set of coordinates in the source code of Scott Cawthon's website. Of course, Scott is often known for hiding lots of little Easter eggs in there, so fans pieced together the coordinates and entered them into Google Maps to see what kind of gem they'd found. The coordinates led them to a pizzeria in Virginia. This led many loyal fans to believe that Scott was trying to hint that this was the pizzeria that inspired FNAF, and maybe even was somehow distantly connected to the events of the games. However, this turned out to be false, and while fans have also found a few pizzerias with Freddy in the name, Scott would later go on to dismiss any connection to any of the speculative real pizzerias, even asking fans to please stop calling any locations that bear similarity to the restaurant franchise featured in the games, as it was disruptive to these legitimate businesses. Still, although this proved to be just a fluke, wouldn't it be scary and cool if there was a real, potentially haunted or dilapidated pizzeria that inspired the games? If there were, that would likely be the most terrifying FNAF location of all, because it would be real. Also, if it was in business, it'd probably be really popular too.